Good evening, everybody. Yeah, we're
Good
back on
evening.
that Eat That Frog book, which sometimes seems a little bit monotonous, but actually, if you take each little chapter and you put it into practice, I'm sure life would be more um, motivating, more, you can accomplish more. Because if you suddenly see a huge lawn that you've got to mow, or a big vegetable garden that you must dig over. Before you start, you're so tired that you go and sit down again because it's too much. But if you decide to do 1 square meter of lawn in an hour, in 3 hours you would be finished your lawn and you would have about 3 cups of coffee between the mowings, and you have accomplished in one day a huge task without even feeling it. And the same with any business that you do. There's lots of things that you've got to do in order to grow a business, not necessarily this business, but any business. And the main key to organizing or to growing a business is you become organized. And if you are organized, you can organize your team. So I've had a great job this week by organizing my team, because I decided that, first of all, I was going to summarize everything and then get people just to give feedback, but that didn't work. So then I thought, okay, I will get the folk to actually read a chapter, just one chapter. And these chapters are short, just one chapter, and try and get as much out of that one chapter for you, and tell us what you think about that chapter, and maybe what you learned about it, and maybe even what you put into practice by reading that, and what did you accomplish? Perhaps that's what we're going to get out of this tonight. So the first chapter that we're actually doing tonight is chapter 14, Motivate Yourself into Action. And tonight, William is going to tell us how and what and why he read this chapter. Go for it, William.
What book was this again? I actually I read all the chapters that were there. They were really good.
Well done.
Because I missed out, and it was quite funny because Sean and I have got a digital copy, and the chapters are different. Excuse me. So we had to check which was which first, because in the book we've got, this is chapter 13. But it's the same book, word for word. Okay, so chapter 14, Motivate Yourself into Action. I quite enjoy it. It is, there's a quote in the beginning, basically it says, it is in the compelling zest of high adventure and of victory and of creative action that man/woman, I made it more correct, finds their supreme joys, basically, yeah. So I amended that. It was done by Anton de Saint-Exupéry, um, some time back. Okay, so to be performing at your best, excuse me, you need to become your own cheerleader, basically. You get into a routine of coaching and encouraging yourself. That's exactly what you were saying earlier, but it's up to you. You need to get into a routine of coaching and encouraging yourself to be playing at the top of your game. Your emotions are determined by how you talk to yourself constantly. So to keep you motivated, you must work to become a total optimist. You must decide to respond positively to any words, actions, and reactions of the people and situations that occur around you. Refuse to let the unavoidable difficulties and setbacks of daily life affect your mood or your emotions. Control your inner dialogue. So your self-esteem is key to your levels of motivation and persistence. So you talk to yourself positively over and over all the time. Say, I like myself, until you begin to believe it, and behave like a person with a high performance personality. Continually telling yourself, I can do it, to overcome doubt and fear. When people ask you how you are, always tell them, I feel terrific, no matter what. And I can honestly say I learned that about 20 years ago from someone. That a manager told me where I was working, says, whenever anyone asks you, how's it going? You tell them, perfect. How's business? Brilliant. You always need to be unflappable while the whole place is crumbling around you. And I lived with that, and it really works. I tell you, people just think you like, there's not this guy, nothing can get them down. No matter how you feel, what's happening in life, strive to remain cheerful and upbeat. The one freedom we have in life, and this was someone's quote, but I changed it up a bit. The one freedom that we do have in our life is that we can choose our own attitude in any situation. No one can control that except us. Refuse to complain about your problems to others, because 80% of them do not care, and the other 20% is glad that you've got that problem and not them. Okay, that was quite a horrible statistic, but it's true. People don't expect you, when they say, how are you? You just say, how are you back? And you carry on walking past each other. Develop a positive mental attitude. So there was a 22-year study done at a university in the United States by Martin Seligman. He said he determined that optimism is the most important quality you can develop for success and happiness. And they worked out that optimists have 4 special behaviors. Number 1, look for the good in every situation. These are words to live by, honestly. Seek the valuable lesson in every setback and or difficulty. Look for the solution to every problem. Think and talk continually about your goals. The continual visualization will energize you to go and achieve them. The more positive you feel, the more eager to get started you will be, and the more determined to keep going. So, eat that frog, control your thoughts, you become what you think about most of the time. Think about the things you want rather than what you don't want. So focusing on all the negatives, just focus on what you want. I heard a great story today on that CBT course that I'm doing, where the guy says that Bill Clinton, when he became president of the United States, wanted to go walk in one of the most dangerous areas in one of the cities. And anyway, long story short, he went for the walk. A lady came up to him. She said to him, told him a tirade of problems, and this is wrong, that's wrong, that's that. And she went on for ages, and he just stood there and listened. And then he said to her at the end, so tell me what you actually want. And she said, I want my children to be safe on the street, I want the streets to be clean, and I want a job so I can make money. And that was it. Summed down, he just took, that's all she wanted. All the other things were what she didn't want. And that's exactly what this is saying. So keep your mind positive, take responsibility for yourself and the situations happening to you. Don't criticize others. Don't complain about others. Don't blame others for anything. Make progress, not excuses. Focus thoughts and energy forward on how you can improve your life right now, and let the rest go.
Thank you, William. Well
Chapter 20.
done. Well done. Well done.
Pleasure.
You talk
Thank you.
about that you and Sean have got two different books on the same book. I have
Yeah,
tried to
we've got the
summarize
same
these.
book. It's different to your book.
I tried to summarize these 5 chapters, and I've got 3 different summaries, 3 different titles, plus the book that I gave everybody. So, yeah, okay. So the next speaker that I have asked to come on board here is technology is a terrible master. And the one that is the most technically minded I've asked to do this chapter, and that's Sean. Let's see in a few words how you summarize this chapter, but
Yeah, bit ironic because my life revolves around technology. Technology is wonderful, but technology can also be a living nightmare. And everybody talks about this paperless society, and you end up using more paper with a paperless society than not. According to Mohandas Gandhi, there is more to life than just increasing its speed. Is it old saying, more haste, less speed? And technology has sped up the world. We live in an instant society these days. It used to be if you wanted a cup of coffee, you had to go and plant a seed, cultivate the tree, wait for it to bloom, wait for it to produce its berries, go and pick them, roast them, and then you could get your cup of coffee. Now you go along to the cupboard, all out of box, there you go. Or remember the dark ages where you wrote a letter to somebody and you slicked it and stuck it in an envelope and you stuck a stamp on there and you threw it in a post box. And if you were lucky, a few days later, the other person would get it. And now you can do 46,000 of these things in 5 minutes. So technology can also be a terrible master. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And it often is on most days for me, both of those things. Technology becomes the enemy when we give in to an obsessive need to communicate continually. People get addicted to these screens. I know I tend to have an issue with that. And it is so easy, just like any addiction, it's so easy to get addicted. I want to see what's happening. Now, in my life, unfortunately, a lot of my life does revolve around technology because when I'm moving around, I'm having hospital phone me, I'm having doctors phone me, I'm having physios call me, I'm having patients call me. Today has been just a crazy day as far as that's concerned. And it's not just the phone calls. The phone calls are quite often the quick and easy ones. It's the messages. And then this one messages you, and that one messages you, and your brain can go into a spin. You've got to learn to control, and we're allowed to say no. I know it's one of the most difficult words for me to ever pronounce, but the 2 little letters, and no, sorry, I can't do that now. And I'll often say that, but then I'll go ahead and message in return anyway. But you've got to learn to, in this case, quit. We've always been taught you never quit, winners never quit. But sometimes you've got to slow down in order to speed up. It sounds pretty crazy. Now, Comrades is coming up this weekend. One of those silly things is for people who haven't figured out that the wheel was invented. Some of us only run short distances, but one of the techniques that some of the top runners use, and I always say to my patients, the front runners, they probably run the whole distance, the whole 90 Ks. They don't run the same pace. You've got to speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down. And exactly the same with technology. We are surrounded by technology all day, every day. There's Facebook, there's WhatsApp, there's computer screens, there's phones, there's SMSs, you want to know some information. We have an information overload. And this little supercomputer over here sometimes goes, and it like a heart that gets the wobblies. It needs a bit of a kick. Some people will know more about that than others, where you need a shock to get it back into the normal routine. And sometimes we need to do that. And sometimes I think it might be a good idea to let your phone go for a swim in the toilet, or little things like it, where it forces you to cut back. And just to spin through this whole thing over here, one needs to learn to take a break. And one of my breaks that I try and do is my park run on a Saturday. Yes, I have my phone on me, but it's not in my hand and I'm not listening to it all the time. It's simply on me because that's where my Strava is. And yes, I do get phone calls occasionally, which irritate me, but it's one of those things. And I can use it to take photos, but you're not sitting. You've heard the term doom scrolling. Very easy to get caught up in that. And I need to look at this story. And then you go into that story and you go down the rabbit hole. Don't become addicted. And you need to learn to take back your time. Yes, I use technology as a diary. I often say this little terrorist thing over here is my life because it's my email, it's my messaging, it's my phone, it's my price lists for work and for business. It's literally everything. And if I need information, people ask me if I need questions that I can't immediately pick up, I'm going to go and search it. But there comes a time where you've got to put it on one side, say, that's it, no more. And go take a walk. If you're lucky like me, where you've got the beach down the road, go take a walk on the beach. Leave your phone behind. It's easy to say, not always easy to do. But it is something that I'm working on. And we need to refuse to be a slave. We can be a slave to this thing. Very, very simple and very easy. Remember back in the dark ages, people needed to get hold of you. They had to phone your phone. And if you weren't at home, if there was a voicemail message, you could leave it. Otherwise, you called again. And the world didn't stop revolving because of that. And we need to learn to do that again. If there's very important information, somebody will tell you. If World War VI suddenly explodes somewhere along the line, somebody will tell you. You'll pick it up. You don't have to be the first one to know. Because there's always somebody that is a slave and they will tell you. So the quick summary is resolve today to create zones of silence during your day-to-day activities. Turn off your computer and your smartphone for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. You'll be amazed at what happens. Absolutely nothing. The world doesn't come to an end. And resolve to unplug from technology for 1 full day each week. By the end of your digital detox, your mind will be calm and clear. And when your mental batteries have time to recharge, you will be much more effective at eating frogs. Learn, just like your phone, you can turn it off. I know I'm the last one to be talking about that, but it also has a mute button.
Thank you, Sean. I hope that one person in particular was really listening to that message. On my screen is on that side. And hopefully he turns the phone off every now and then and goes for that walk on the beach and chills. But don't worry, I'm coming in 2 weeks' time. I will make sure that he chills. Thank you, Sean. Thanks, Mabut. Okay, now we've got another guest speaker that unfortunately, due to technology and the remote place where she lives in, she can get when I send those pages and pages and pages on WhatsApp as photographs, she reads those things. And she so wants to be on the Zoom, but she can't get on the Zoom. She lives in Butterworth, way up on the hill, where comms is just about non-est. So she has tried sometimes to get onto Zoom, but she just can't. So I said to her, okay, we're going to do this a better way. We're going to do a voice message. So she has read, and her name is Beauty, And I always call her Beauty from Butterworth, my Beauty. She's my big stalwart downline friend, awesome lady. She has read chapter 16, and on my title is Technology is a Wonderful Servant. And she's given the most wonderful report. I listened to it the other day, and Sean's going to try and help me to get it onto the Zoom. So let's see if it works. Sean? Sean, you on mute. Maybe that's the problem.
Okay, let me do this.
There we go.
I'm going to just try this again. I did get it set up just now. There we go.
Hi,
There we go.
Jenny. Let me give a summary of chapter 16. But let me touch chapter 14, because there's something when I was reading chapter 14 that was interesting to me. The writer says, a person who think that people must help or must come and motivate or whatever, that person is like a person standing in a street where no buses will pass. It means it's a waste of time. You are waiting for something that is not going to come if you think somebody must come and solve your problems or cheer you up. So you have to eat the frog. Let me come to chapter 16. Chapter 16 dwells in motivate yourself into action. And once you motivate yourself into action, you will have a complete joy as a self-cheerleader. You will be able to coach, to cheer, and encourage yourself. And most of emotions, whether they are negative or positive, they are determined by what you tell yourself. What is it that you tell yourself? How you interpret what happens to you is very, very important. You keep yourself motivated. How? By being optimistic. Also control the inner dialogue. You know that concept, being optimistic, the writer explains it clearly what it will do. Because when you are optimistic about life, you control your inner dialogue, what you think about things that are happening, what you tell yourself. And also, it leads to self-esteem. You must have a positive self-esteem, because once you have got a positive self-esteem, there are many things that you'll be able to tackle without fear of failure. And that idea of I can do it, it must be a daily slogan in your life. You must have, when you are optimistic, you have an unbeatable mentality. And also avoid complaining about challenges or problems. You know, it shocked me. It really shocked me, the figures the writer gave. The writer says, if you keep on complaining to other people about your problems, 80% of the people do not care about your problems, probably because they have got their own. More shocking, 20% are glad that you have those problems. How? Now, this takes us back to being optimistic, having that attitude. Now, the writer says, if you are optimistic about life, you look for good in all situations, whether they are negative or positive. You look what is good in this thing. Yes, it is a bad situation, but what is it that is good? You learn a lesson out of every situation, even if it's a setback situation or it is difficult situation. If it's a setback, you thought you'd be having a very big supermarket this 2026 and it's not there. What lesson are you to learn there? And also, if you are optimistic, you will always say, okay, this is a problem. How do I solve it? And you go back to the I can do it attitude. And also go back to a positive self-esteem. I can do it, can manage it. And also, if you are optimistic, you look at the goal irrespective of circumstances. Yes, it is difficult. Yes, it is a problem. Yes, this is this. But what was your goal? The whole project has come to a standstill now. What was your goal? So I loved that chapter. I loved it. I loved that chapter. Words that you have to learn to cheer yourself, to motivate yourself, to encourage yourself. It's a bonus when other people come to encourage you and motivate you. It's a bonus. You must do it yourself. Thank you.
Well done, Beauty. That was awesome. Yeah, some of us are privileged to have technology at our fingertips the whole time with good Wi-Fi, good communications, and some of us have to battle. And Beauty is one of those that battle. And when she can, she gets to Bloem. And when she can, she gets to Pretoria. And when she can, she does the business. And there's always something that's pushing her down. If I was Beauty, I don't think I would have got up anytime. But Beauty rises out of the ashes every time. I'm very, very, very proud of Beauty. Well done, Beauty. Okay, Ansi, what chapter have you got? I asked you to do, or you said you were going to do chapter 17. My title is Focus Your Attention. What is your title? Ansi. Don't look so worried. Ansi is frozen.
Yeah. Your connection
I
seems
think
bad tonight.
I think she's frozen. Okay, so I haven't done focus your
You
attention.
said I must do 16. No, you said I must do 16.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, give your interpretation of 16.
no, I didn't do that one. I'm sorry.
Okay, which one did you do?
17, the same as Sean. There was many frames.
Okay, what was your 17?
Okay.
My 17 was focus your attention. It could have been slice and dice the task. It could have also been get out
It's
of
also technology. It's also technology. But anyway, I'll just mention a few pointers. Okay. If you think of the professional, we all are professional, but unfortunately, we don't work hours 8 to 4 or 5. So those professional people, business people, they switch off their phone while they're working, like as Sean said. Even if his phone is also always on silent, but if you go into theater, his phone is off. The same with the other professionals. No phone, no email, no business when it's off. If I just have a look at my one daughter, no communication during the week, during the day, only after work and before work. And he said it's funny but painful. If you think of the corporate people when they have their lunch, nowadays the corporate people, they have like a what do you call it, where they have lunch together?
Business lunch.
Business lunch.
What do you call it? It's like a cafeteria. And now the people having lunch, yes. Now they're all on their phones. We must use the cell phones as a tool, not as a slave. And the other thing, what Beauty mentioned, 80% of the emails we receive is worthless. He said delete it. If it's from some value to the one who sent it, they will send it again. 16% could be handled by someone else, and only 4% needed attention. And then I was thinking of the other leaders who are 4 and 5 diamond directors, or even lower status. They have somebody like personal assistant who do all that for them, for that people, that person in business. So they more into getting our time, we waste our time. So our time is valuable. Unplug, focus on what matters. Your goal is important. Tech is a tool, as I mentioned. Turn off the noise, as Sean mentioned, and protect your attention. We can all be free from tech habits. The end.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This book is very deurmekaar, makes me deurmekaar, but it's so intertwined and so specific, and so you think that you're reading the same chapter all the time. And what is the point here? I've just watched my minutes. Where's my minutes? I've got 5 minutes. So the last chapter that we're looking at is supposed to be Slice and Dice the Task. As I was saying just now, these huge tasks, we've got to do 250 PV in a month in order to get a check. How are we going to do that? 25 people, each buy 1 Super 10, and there we go. We've got 250 points. But you've got to find those people. So as they're talking here, which I thought was quite cute, break large projects into tiny, manageable, step-by-step pieces. Don't look at the whole picture. As we've always been taught, look at the whole picture and then take it down to step 1. So you've got a goal to work to, but you take step 1. How do you walk to Cape Town? By taking the first step out the door, or by planning the trip on a map at home first. And then you take 1 step out of the door, you load your car, you go through the gate, and then you go down the road, and then you start going to Cape Town. It takes 1 step at a time. You can't do it in an instant. Same with here. So they say, use mind mapping to visually organize complex tasks before you begin. So we need to focus, we need to get ourselves onto track, and we need to find the places along the way where we're going to stop for coffee and reassess what we're doing and get it back into focus and do the next little task, chapter 2, and then chapter 3, until we reach that goal that we set in the beginning of the month, that 250 PV or the 500 PV or the 1000 PV. We have set ourselves there. Create the salami slice or the cheese, the piece of cheese. You take a big piece of salami and you cut it into slices and you eat 1 slice at a time. You've all seen salamis. I mean, they're huge. I can't even get it on the screen here. They're so huge. But you take 1 little salami at a time and you digest that. You do what you have to do. And you'll see by the end of the day, if you've taken each little slice and you've taken it properly and you've digested it and you've worked at it and you've completed that 1 little task, by the end of the day, you've actually eaten that whole salami. You've actually eaten that whole frog. So before we get cut off rudely again, I thank you everybody for coming along. We've only got one more session of this book. We're going to actually take it and put it into one little bundle. And everybody that you've read the book, that you've seen the book, that you've worked on the book, I would like next time, which will be in July, to give a feedback of what you got out of Eat That Frog. And the goal that you set at the beginning of the month, what did you end the month with? Did you achieve your goal by putting these things into action? So thank you. I think we've got 1 more minute left. According to my time, we've got 2. Sean's time says 1. But thank you very much, everybody. And keep warm and keep dry and keep Natal warm, please, so that I can at least enjoy
Sure.
Natal there. And
Yeah.
then we will enjoy it.
Everybody.
See you on the other side.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.